Oh my Lord. My name is Alan. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm almost in tears listening to you and the enthusiasm and the ideas that you have. And um, I could go on for hours. And I've got a list of questions, so that I'm not going to put my questions out yet. But we do have some questions that have come in. I don't know if you can see them at this point, Shane, or not. Uh, but I'll read this first question. I'm following Alcoholics Anonymous on LinkedIn. When I view my own profile, AA appears in my interests. Is that interest viewable to others who look at my profile, or is it just viewable to me? Did you hear the question, Shane? I think you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, so that would be visible to other people. And I guess the question is, so of course, each person can make a decision about how anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous they want to be. We're all responsible for other people's anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. But I've personally changed my perspective on this topic, and I didn't talk about this, but I think it's important to mention it. So, I used to, on Facebook, we'll use Facebook as an example, I liked a lot of different AA related stuff. I would like the Big Book. I would like the 12 and 12. I'd like the Grapevine. And when you went under my likes, where you have movies or books or whatever, there'd be a lot of recovery related stuff. Then I got real paranoid a few years ago, and I thought, oh, well, that's a breach of anonymity. I'm saying that I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I went through and I took all that stuff out. Now I've sort of like figured out a happy balance. So I'm not worried about my history on YouTube or LinkedIn or my saved accounts on YouTube or LinkedIn or my interests. And I'm not worried about likes on Facebook. I'm not going to go out and like a bunch of stuff about Alcoholics Anonymous. But I don't think that those are indicators of a violation of Tradition 11. Now, I totally understand if someone doesn't want to be associated with recovery or alcoholism or Alcoholics Anonymous at all online, but I'll use the meeting guide app as an example. And I think that if we're going to adopt these tools as a fellowship, we're going to have to change our perspective on our understanding of Traditions 11 and 12. And the meeting guide app is a great example. And I would have actually said this probably before the last 2 years, but I was talking to a friend about the meeting guide app, and he says, it's really a platform for violation of Tradition 11. I said, how's a meeting guide app a violation? It's helping me find a meeting. Nobody knows what he said. Well, when you go to the, so I'm an Apple user, but when you go to the Google Play Store and download it, there's reviews from people in Alcoholics Anonymous with their first and last name talking about how useful it is and how long they've been sober. I said, but do you really think, like, when the traditions were written, when we were making mistakes, a lot of traditions were written for mistakes we made. So don't forget that we made these mistakes and survive. So they're not like a death sentence where if we break a tradition that, AA folds. It's just we've learned that, these are things that we need to go by. But anyway, I said, do you think that that's the level of press, radio, and film that Bill's talking about? Do you think that if someone goes, I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't give a review for the meeting guide app and then say that I'm a member of AA, but if somebody does that, is that really, do you think they're putting themselves in a position to be the spokesperson for Alcoholics Anonymous at the level of press, radio, and film? I don't think so. I don't think it's advisable. I wouldn't do it. But I don't think most people care about reviews on Google Play, and I don't think they read them. And even if they do read them, I don't think that they're going to be driven or affected or reach an opinion about Alcoholics Anonymous based on a Google Play. What are they going to do? They're going to see the reviewer, look for his name on Facebook, send him a Facebook request, and see that he's a Trump supporter and assume that AA is supportive of Trump. No one's going to make that connection. Like that's not what we need to be worried about. We need to be worried about stuff that could really be a problem, So at the level of press, radio, and film. So I think that, yeah, I think when you follow and participate with Alcoholics Anonymous on social media, there will be evidence there. I don't think you can do that without any evidence. I don't think liking or following AA stuff is completely safe in a way that no one would ever know that you're doing that. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
I think it did. I think it did. Thanks a lot, Shane.
mm-hmm.
Could you go into a little more detail on this SES that you were talking about and
Sure.
and pre-conference review? Because we've had a situation where a delegate has offered to do that, and there was some back or pushback on that, and quite frankly, we're struggling. We're struggling to get the group's to get the group's voice heard, and so I'm open to any suggestions that you might have on how we can do that better.
So, on SES, we don't do like a pre-conference report. We just have pre-conference and post-conference discussion about background and agenda. So, but what we do on our website is I'll do a pre-conference report and record it on audio, and we post that on Area 64's website. So I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Are you talking about the discussion on SES, the recording of the pre-conference report, or actually, now that I think about it, Alan, I think we have posted some pre-conference reports that I've done in audio on SES for people to listen to. We've certainly posted workshops, recorded workshops, and we've done live workshops. Like we did a diversity workshop in Nashville where we had mics and cameras set up, and we broadcast that on Facebook Live on SES. But anyway, what exactly is any of that sound like what you're talking about or not? Maybe.
Well, it does sound like what I'm talking about, but I think the first thing I would love for you to do is just tell me what SES is.
Oh, okay. So SES is a private group on Facebook. That's the word that AA uses now, private. They used to use secret. Secret group is the same thing as private group. And it's by invite only. It's made up of members of Alcoholics Anonymous only. And we have about 1,400 and something people on there right now. And it's just a group on Facebook for AAs to come together and talk about all things Alcoholics Anonymous. SES stands for Southeastern Servants. We called it Southeastern Servants for a long time until we just had so many people from across the conference area that name didn't make any sense anymore. So now we call it SES. And around March, we started allowing it to be used as a platform for sharing information about the pandemic, what groups were closed, what groups had started up on Zoom, assemblies that were canceled, conferences that were canceled. And so from March to maybe June or July, it was a major platform for sharing information about all things COVID. But traditionally and now, it's a discussion forum that's general service driven. So we talk about background, agenda items, traditions, concepts, the general service board's performance. We have current sitting delegates, past delegates, current sitting general service trustees. The AWS chair, Bo, is on there. We've got past general service trustees, past Class A's or Class B's. It's all Alcoholics Anonymous. We have a filtering system. 2 admins, me and Jimmy Welch. We filter everybody that comes through and make sure they're a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I'm not saying this because I admin the site, but it's probably the leading private group on Facebook with respect to content about General Service Conference. And that slowed down over the last year because of the pandemic. So used to every day there would be some large discussion, dialogue, debate, whatever you want to call it, about an agenda item. And then the pandemic hit. People were more concerned about that, and we started sharing information. But occasionally there'll be, there might be a post about what do you think about agenda item this, or, how many pages are in the background, or, how do you feel about revising the big book? I mean, we've had some really good discussions on there about, it's a place where you can capture the heartbeat of the fellowship and hear how people feel about different things. We've had a lot of discussions about atheism and secular AA and whether secular AA, like we agnostic can call themselves AA, what the warranties say about changing the steps, AA's attitude about people who don't like AA, who are in AA. I mean, just a lot of different discussion like that. So if you're on Facebook, send me an invite, Shane Shepard, SHEPARD, and I'll be glad to move you over and add you to SES.
Great. That was really helpful. I wanted to ask you about another item that you brought up, that that the members of AA are adopting the technology and not waiting for the General Service Conference to adopt the technology, which I think is accurate. I'm just wondering, number one, how do we control the message, or do we control the message? And number two, is there a role for General Service rather than, spinning their wheels trying to adopt this technology to be more of a clearinghouse on where people should go? Like SES, should we be putting on our putting on our websites that this is a resource that if you're looking for additional information on key issues with General Service at this point? Yeah. Do you have a reaction to that?
Yeah, those are all good discussion points. So I think that, I don't know if I'm going to answer or respond exactly, but it just got me thinking that, I think that there is a challenge with connection between fellowship and conference. And I think that if we could close that gap and work in unison more effectively, it would be overall better for AA. The problem is that I think accurately, maybe not so much, there's this attitude with each party that the other is not accepting of, what's going on. So traditionally, the General Service Board has been outspoken and opposed to secret groups, to private groups. And traditionally, people who participate in private groups have recoiled from that thought process, right? So I think you're right. I think, pointing people into the right direction and working together would be more effective and helpful. Is that an appropriate response to your thought process? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's a big challenge because, you've got, traditionally people that are more tech ready or friendly using some of these tools, operating these tools, and then, providing these tools as a platform to the fellowship with resistance traditionally. And I think that's changing now, but resistance from the board or AAWS. And I think the General Service Board and AAWS recognizes that, these platforms don't always follow protocol with respect to communication and group conscience. But see, I think protocol's broke. And I tell my friend Josh this all the time about this. Protocol is broke and doesn't work. Our idea of a group conscience and gathering how people feel is broke. When you survey the conference and you ask how many people are in favor of this proposed agenda item, and there's a significant amount of people that are not, when you're discussing and voting on and participating and talking about material on the agenda that's not important or pertinent to the fellowship, or you don't have an understanding on the pulse of the fellowship, or you're not reaching people, or you're not communicating, like your discussion / information / communication protocol is not effective. There's a disconnect between the fellowship and the conference. It just is, and that's not always because of bad delegates. That's just, part of what we have to work through and try to figure out ways to come together.
Okay. Unknown caller. Sorry. Sorry about that. That always happens. Let's see. Do we have any, Angie, do we have any other questions to come up at this point?
In the chat, there was one question. Okay. And I have my opinion about this, but I'll get Shane's expert opinion.
I'm reading reading the chat right now.
So. Okay. Amazon offers customers the ability to have a donation made to a company, foundation, or cause that they have approved on their site with each of our purchases. Is AA looking into having that as a donation thing for intergroup or GSO listed as a benefactor?
Yeah, would it be appropriate to apply with Amazon to have either our intergroup or GSO added as a listed benefactor? Yeah, so what Hugh's saying is Amazon offers, but then he says, would it be appropriate to ask or apply with Amazon to have either our intergroup or GSO added as a listed benefactor that we can choose to donate to? So in other words, could Alcoholics Anonymous be listed as an organization on Amazon that you're allowed to donate to when you make a purchase, right? So, we've had that discussion. There's been chatter about that. I don't think there's any proposed agenda item or what that looks like, but there's this seventh tradition problem. So I'll give you guys an example. Google AdWords. That was on your agenda. I didn't talk a lot about that, but we've finally adopted Google AdWords. And just Google AdWords is a way for us to receive some grant money from Google that allows us to bid on website positions when a search is made for alcoholics. So used to, if you Googled, I have a problem with drinking, Alcoholics Anonymous would come up on page 16. But now we can bid with like Hazelden or Cumberland Heights or whoever, and we can bid for advertising space, and then we get popped up to the top of the screen, or at least further up close to scrolling, and we'll have a little ad there. And we get that money for free. It's a grant. And they do that for other nonprofits. A lot of people have said, oh, well, let's take money from an outside organization. And maybe it is, but, there was a conference action that said we can receive any type of in-kind contribution as long as other nonprofits receive that same in-kind contribution. So if a hotel says we're going to give you a discount because you're AA, we can say, okay, well, do you give NA a discount or American Red Cross? And if they say we sure do, then we can take it. If they say no, we don't, we're just going to give it to you, then we can't take it. That's the threshold we use.
I think you froze on us, Shane.
PSAs, I don't know if you guys know this, but we received million last year. I'd have to look it up, but it's in the background. What happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened. Anyway, millions of dollars for free advertisement with PSAs, radio time. So I don't know that I have a personal opinion, Hugh, about whether it's appropriate or not. My gut tells me we can't take money from people other than alcoholics. So how could we take donations from random people making purchases on Amazon that are not members of AA? Or how would we determine that they are? If the question is, can we do this from AA members? But I don't think I have a hard stance on it either way. I know that there's some discussions going on, and maybe we'll hear something about it in the future. But anyway, that's my end.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah.
I got that. We have two hands raised, Shane, and so I'm going to ask them to unmute. The first one is Suzanne. Suzanne, can you unmute yourself and state your question?
Hi, I'm Suzanne. I'm an alcoholic. We have a district PI chair who is interested in receiving some experience, strength, and hope from others in AA or other districts who have utilized Facebook public service announcements in its relationship to geofencing. She's looking for cost, effectiveness, and if it was feasible for her committee to do something like that, and what's the process. I had suggested that she go on to the SES Facebook page or possibly Third Legacy Facebook page. Is there somewhere else she could go?
She could call Racy Joseph, who is the GSO staff secretary for public information. And, you know, she has resources with other PI related people. And she might be able to sure post it up on SES and we'll get it on there. And then I would call Racy Joseph in a GSO and see if she has any contacts that could be helpful. I don't know anything about geofencing. Sorry. I'm sort of.
Okay. That's Racy Joseph.
Racy Joseph. Yep. She's great help.
Got it. Thank you, Shane.
You're welcome.
Shane, thank you. We have one last question, and then we're going to bring the meeting to a close. And it's Janice. And I'm going to ask you to unmute, Janice. Janice, can you unmute? Janice? I think we lost Janice. Okay. Shane, I don't know how to begin to thank you for.
Oh, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this was just phenomenal this morning. You know, definitely what we all need to hear. It is so exciting to hear that, we have people like you. We have organizations that are driving us forward and helping us to embrace new ways of communicating, reaching out to the alcoholic who hasn't actually got to us yet, and taking those actions that need to be taken to make sure that we maintain our relevance going forward. And you have done such a great service for us here in District 4 and Area 15, and the message is well received. And thank you so much. And look forward to hearing more. One more. Okay, Angie, before we leave.
One just thing, lots and lots of people would like to become invited to SES, but they need a direct link to you to do that. Can you say that out loud so I can share that information?
Yeah, so can you guys see that? I don't know. You see that? There it is. See Shane Shepherd on Facebook. Look, there's Asher and Elijah and my beautiful. Send me a Facebook request on Facebook, and once you do that, send me an instant message saying you want me to add you to SES, and we'll get you put in there.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for joining this morning. Look forward to our next coffee talk. Why don't we close this meeting with the responsibility statement this morning? I am responsible when anyone, anywhere reaches out for help. I want the hand of AA to always be there. And for that, I am responsible. Shane, thank you again for just a fabulous presentation and wonderful information.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I made your heart skip a beat when I came in at the and I'm sorry I had to take the mute and take the call, but that's sometimes
No, it's totally fine.
Totally fine. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you at the assembly in April, virtually.
There you
Our
go.
assembly this year, or our April assembly to review conference agenda items, will be totally virtual. So we'll see you online in April. So thank you all. Take care.
See you guys.